This jellyfish costume came out amazing. With 420 LEDs, this just might be the coolest costume I've ever made, and I'm going to show you how to make one right now. Okay, real quick, here is how I made this jellyfish costume. Up top is a kid's umbrella that I lined with these little mini blue flashing LEDs. The hoop is a roofing strap, which I bent into a hoop and then also lined with the blue LEDs. The middle here is chiffon ribbon, which I used for the guts. It's iridescent, it matches the umbrella. I lined it with some white LEDs to give it some contrast, and the whole thing I went and mounted on a hard hat, which I covered with some styrofoam peanuts. If you've always wanted to make an epic costume but never thought you could, this one's pretty easy. You got this. So I'm gonna break it down right now step by step and show you how I did it. Let's make a costume. To start, we need a kid's umbrella. I got this in iridescent color. We wanna go ahead and cut the handle off. And after we do that, you'll see that the middle is perfectly hollow. We are going to mount this to a hard hat. So in order to do that, we need to drill a hole through the top of the hard hat and attach it to a bolt. This is a 2.5-inch bolt, and I'm heating it up to press it through the plastic. We don't want to drill a hole that's big enough where the bolt falls through. We want to drill a hole that's a little bit smaller than the bolt and use the heat to thread it on through. We don't want this bolt to move at all. So if you drill the hole too big, you're going to have a mistake. Heating it up presses through the plastic really easy, so I'm just starting the threads through the top and then flip it over and screw it in through the back. Now that we're feeding this through, this bolt is tight as could be. It's not going to move at all, so our costume will be snug when we're moving and dancing. We're a half hour in, and here's what we got. The handle's cut off the umbrella. It sits nice and tight on the bolt. The bolt's not going to move because we drilled the hole small. And now we can move on to the next step. These are roofing straps. 6 of them come in a pack. We're going to use 3 on this costume. These are great for all sorts of costumes. They're just a really cool shape. They're easy to work with and they're lots of fun. They click together just like that. And in no time at all, we can attach 3 of them together and bend them into a hoop. It's really easy. Now they click together, but they don't stay together. So we have to go ahead and glue these back together. So after you've made it into the hoop, unhook it, and then just put some glue on the connector pieces. And we're going to connect all 3 of them together. I use Gorilla Glue contact cement. This stuff works great. Click them back into the hoop and then use a little blue painter's tape just to hold everything nice and snug. That's it. Pretty easy. Now we're going to wait for our glue to dry and we're going to move on to the next step. This is where you should be at right now. Things are already taking shape, so now it's off to the next step. Now it's time to work on the umbrella. So set the hoop and the hard hat aside, and it's a good idea to clean the umbrella off. You don't want to do this with harsh chemicals, just a little soap and water. Cut this thing off of here. We don't need it. Now our umbrella is clean and we can get to the best part. 420 LEDs. These are the best LEDs for costumes right here. You get 12 in a pack and they're super tiny. Battery powered. On a wire strand, each strand has 20 LEDs. You just pull this thing out, it comes with the batteries, and they have 3 positions. Check them out in the dark. How cool are these? They have flashing, super flashing, and all the way on. They don't have a remote control, but that's okay, we don't need it. We are going to take these and line them on the metal retractor bar to the top of the umbrella, and we're going to do that with clear Gorilla tape and 4-inch cable ties. Make sure you use Gorilla tape and get a whole pack, 100 of these zip ties. And just take a little piece of Gorilla tape, try not to cover up the button, and put it on the top of the retractor bar And we're just taping it around, holding it in place. Just like that. Now that we have it taped up there, we just want to tie it off with one cable tie to make sure that it doesn't come undone. And that's it. Here's where you should be at right now, and when it's in the dark, here's what it looks like. Pretty cool, huh? Just run the whole wire with the LED, and then save this bit for later. Don't unwind it yet. We'll get to that in a minute. But right now, this is where you should be at. So we got 1, 7 more to go. Now I've got them all tied up into place. It really only took a few minutes to do each. The key is making sure the LEDs start at the top and that the batteries don't fall off. I think I used 7 cable ties on each wire. So now it's time to clean all those up. I like doing this with these little wire snips because they're just small and it's hard to make a mistake. You could easily cut the wire if you're not paying attention, which we don't want to do. So make sure you don't cut the wire and just take your time and clean up all the zip ties. And now that we've got all the zip ties cleaned up, our kid's umbrella is fully lined with LEDs. And we're ready to move off to the next step. Here's what this looks like with the lights out. Pretty cool, huh? Just make sure the LEDs start at the top and then work our way down. And then don't untangle the rest of the LEDs yet. We'll get to those later. And now it's off to the next step. Our hoop is all dry, so we're going to go ahead and take 3 more of those LED packs and line them in the hoop. 12 came in the box. We're going to use 11 of them for 220 LEDs total, and we'll save 1 just in case we make a mistake. It's pretty easy to use our cable ties and string this up in here. The hoop's easy to work with, and when you're done, this is what you have. The battery pack just tucks in right here. It fits like a glove. I just held it on with a piece of clear Gorilla Tape. It's not going to go anywhere. That way we can turn it on and off pretty easy. You could glue it in place, but then you'd need like a popsicle stick to turn the on-off button. And now that we've got our hoop fully lined with 3 sets of LEDs, this is what we got. So again, now we have all these zip ties we need to clean up. So take our little wire snips and let's clean up all these. It only takes a minute. And now we're going to have this LED hoop that you can honestly use for so many different costumes. I love these things. Now that our LED hoop is all cleaned up, we're going to hang this off the umbrella. But before we do that, now is a really good spot for us to stop and try things on. We want to make sure the umbrella is straight and not tipping side to side, but we also want to make sure our hard hat's in a comfy position. Comfy is the most important thing, so make sure that it's comfortable, then make sure it's straight. If we need to, we can always move the umbrella, simply just drill another hole and move the bolt. Now we're sure we have the umbrella where we want it, and it's off to the next step. These are 200 white LEDs on 10 strands, and this is the battery pack, and this just clips on right to the bolt. So before we can do that, we need to scuff up our helmet a little bit. Plastic and glue are not friends, so scuffing it up makes the glue a lot more likely to hold. Go ahead and scuff the whole thing. We're going to cover this entire hard hat in a minute, so now's a good time to just prep the whole thing. Use a steak knife or steel wool or sandpaper to scuff it up. Scuff the battery pack a little bit as well. And that's where it goes. We're going to attach this with 2-part epoxy. 2-part epoxy is the strongest glue, so anything that we don't want to come undone, we use 2-part epoxy for. We're going to glue the battery and also the umbrella to the bolt. I just squeeze it out into the container it came with. Why make more trash? 2 parts come out, you mix them together, and that's it. Goop sub up on top of the hard hat. This is where the battery's going to sit. We'll also put a little bit of the epoxy on top of the battery. And then just place this on top of the bolt. I use a little painter's tape to hold it into place, and this is where we should be at. We're also going to use 2-part epoxy to glue the umbrella to the bolt, but not quite yet. Wait for the battery to dry before we move on to the next step. Now that it's dry, it's off to the next step. Hard hats aren't too exciting to look at, so we're going to go ahead and cover this with some styrofoam packaging peanuts. We don't need to do that with 2-part epoxy. That's a little excessive. I just use the regular contact cement. I got some styrofoam peanuts, and I'm just sticking them up here. These are a really creative way to cover the hard hat, and they're my favorite materials because they're free, lightweight, and they're waterproof. Those are the 3 things you want in anything that you work with. Squeeze them onto the glue. They'll spring back right into shape. Work your way around. There's no right or wrong. Just get them up there. Press them onto the glue nice and good. The whole thing took 10 minutes. And when I finished, this is what I had. Now we're not looking at that boring hard hat. This is a lot more creative. Now we're done with the hard hat, so it's off to the next step. Gluing the umbrella to the bolt. Like I said, use 2-part epoxy and use a bunch. I put some down the umbrella and then I put some on the bolt and spin it so it contacts everywhere. We need to make sure it's flat with our face. We don't want this point out in front of our face because then we're going to have an LED in front of our face. We want to frame our face. Get it set where you want it and then let it dry. And here's where we should be at. We have an LED on either side of our face, not in our face. And now it's off to the next step. Now we can attach these white LEDs up top and run them down the middle through the guts. In order to do that, all we need to do is twist tie the top of this up to the top of the umbrella, right where the strands start. It's pretty obvious where it fits. Get it up there with a couple zip ties. And then after you get it up there, go ahead and take the wire that runs to the battery and tape it down the center shaft of the umbrella. And once you have that done, this is where you're at. So now what's left is this extra wire. You can see here, this is where the batteries go, and we have to twist it quite a few times to get the battery in and out. So in order to replace the batteries, we need the extra wire down on the bottom. If we put the extra wire up top, we'd never be able to change the batteries. This black twist tie came with the LED pack. I swapped it out for a white one that I had in my kitchen junk drawer, just because it matches. I took a little piece of clear Gorilla tape, and I taped down the twist tie right to the top of the battery pack down the middle. And now we can just bundle up the wire and park it right here. So when we need to change the battery, we have enough slack to do that. Here's where you should be at. I put all the battery buttons facing the same direction just to make it easier to turn it on and off. Now we're going to move on to our next step, which is the guts, which I use with chiffon ribbon. We're going to attach that to these retractor bars that we put the blue LED batteries on. This is chiffon ribbon and it's extra wide and it's perfect for this. This is the one you want. I got a few different ones and this one is the one. We get 5 in our pack. We're going to use 4 of them up top right now. So we're going to tape these onto the retractor bars that we put the LED blue batteries on, and we're going to do every other bar right now with a long ribbon. In order to attach these, it's pretty easy. All we need is a piece of clear Gorilla Tape, which I put halfway down the chiffon ribbon, and I just left enough extra tape to wrap around the metal retractor bar that the battery pack's on. Try not to cover the battery pack. Remember, you're going to have to reach up there and turn it on and off. So once you have that, just reach up there and flip the tape over the bar and you're good to go. I have 3 up right now. This is the 4th one I'm putting into place. And then once it's up there, take another little tiny piece of Gorilla Tape and attach some of the chiffon ribbon in one spot to the metal umbrella shaft. That way it's not blowing away in the wind. We need to secure this just a little bit. So I put a piece of tape right above the hard hat to hold it center, and this is what you got. Now we have 4 ribbons up on every other bar. And the reason we only put up 4 is because they're long. And I mean really long. So we're going to cut these about 2/3 of the way down, and then I put the extra third on the other bars. So we alternate long piece, medium piece, long piece, medium piece. Now we get to string up these white LEDs. Just untangle them a little bit. There's 10 strands in here, 20 LEDs each. And we're basically just decorating a Christmas tree. I hung 1 strand over each bar and kind of paired it with each chiffon ribbon. And then there's 2 extra pieces that you can just put wherever. There's no right or wrong. And this is what it looks like when you get them all up. How cool is this? This is just the white LEDs on down in the middle. The cool thing about this battery pack is it has 7 different modes you can use. So this is the pulse one, which kind of gives it life. It goes slow and then it gets faster. I'm really liking how these white LEDs look. So now it's time to finish off the blue LEDs and our LED hoop. Our LED hoop we're going to hang from the umbrella, and we're going to do that with fishing wire. This spool was $3 at Walmart. Just tie a piece off to each of the wires. Cut a couple feet, more than you need, and it goes up there real easy. After you get the hoop where you want it, now we're going to finish off the blue LEDs and make some nice tentacles coming down. Each of our blue LEDs still has 6 feet of LED, so we're going to go ahead and triple this back. I folded it down about 2 feet, then I'm wrapping it back up on itself right here. Then once we get to the top, I'm going to wrap it back down again. Make sure you wrap this really tight because you don't want anything getting caught between the wires. Other people's costumes, your hair, twigs, branches, all of that's fair game, so wrap it really tight. When you get to the top, wrap it around this plastic tip just to hold it into place and then wrap itself back down. It's wire, so it wraps pretty easy. Like I said, just make sure you wrap it really tight. Once we get all the way back down, instead of having a 6-foot LED, now we have a nice clean 2-foot LED, and it actually blinks 3 times as many, so it makes a nice contrast with the LED parts that are in the umbrella. Twist up the end. Again, you don't want it snagging on anything. This is going to bonk into stuff, so just plan for it. Now I've got one done, and it's off to do the rest. The last thing I did on this was put one little fishing weight on the end just to give it a little bounce when we move. These little guys right here is all it takes to give it a little swing. The last thing we want to do is cover up this battery pack with some peanuts. Remember, we still have to open it, so don't glue it shut. Put some styrofoam peanuts on the edge. We just want to hide this battery pack. It doesn't look too good. I put one more on the top piece. Make sure you can open it. And then I put a couple more styrofoam peanuts on the front. Don't cover up the on-off button. And that's it. We are all done with our jellyfish costume. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you learned something. I'll see you out there, and I can't wait to see your costume. Be safe, everybody.